Assalamu alaikum students. So today we are going to actually start with the last lecture of our chapter number 2, reproduction in lower and higher animals. So today we are going to start with a topic that is sexually transmitted diseases, also called as STDs. So these are the diseases or infections which are transmitted through sexual intercourse, and they are collectively called as sexually transmitted diseases, STDs, or venereal diseases, also called as VDs, or reproductive tract infections, also known by RTI. So there are three different names of this type of diseases. The first one is sexually transmitted diseases, which stands by STDs or venereal diseases. The said by VDs, or also called by reproductive tract infections, stand as RTI. The major venereal diseases are syphilis and gonorrhea. The two major sexually transmitted diseases are syphilis and gonorrhea. Now, in this slide, we will see both the diseases, syphilis and gonorrhea. We will see in detail regarding both the diseases. In front of you, in this slide, you can see a tabular form is given, and this tabular form, it consists of causative agent, incubation period, infection site, symptoms, preventive measures, and treatment. So we will see first regarding the syphilis. The causative agent. The causative agent means the microorganisms through which the syphilis takes place or syphilis occur. So that microorganism is called as what? The causative agent. So the name of that microorganism, that causative agent for this, who is responsible for giving this disease, syphilis, is one of the bacteria, and the name of that bacteria is Treponema pallidum. The name of that bacteria is Treponema pallidum. And coming to the next point, incubation period. Incubation period, first of all, we will see what do you mean by incubation period. This is the period between when the infection takes place and a person sees the symptom. So it's a period when infections already occur into the body, and the symptom is going to be shown off after a few days. So the period between these, from the infected, this is the period starting from the infection occur and when the symptom is shown. So this period is called as what? Incubation period. Incubation period. In case of syphilis, the incubation period is of 3 to 4 weeks. Then coming to the next point, infection site. What is the site of the infection in case of syphilis? Mucous membrane in genitals, rectal and oral region. Mucous membrane. This is the part of the genital. Mucous membrane of any of these three parts. Which part? Genital, that is the reproductive part of both the genders, whether it can be a male or a female. Then rectal area, and then the oral region. So the infection takes place in the mucous membrane. In the mucous membrane of the genital of both the genders, in the rectal area also, and the oral region also, in both the members. It's not a gender specific, but it can occur in both of the genders, male also and female also. Now coming towards the symptoms. Symptoms. What are the signs and symptoms through which we can understand that yes, syphilis occurs? So the symptom in case of the syphilis, it is primary lesion occurs. Primary lesions means a small wound-like structure takes place. So that is called as what? The lesion. Primary lesion occur. That is called as what? Cancre at the site of the infection. Cancre is formed on external genitalia, skin rashes, and mild fever. Cancre is formed on external genitalia. Skin rashes also occurs, and mild fever can also take place. Then inflamed joints. The joints, all the different parts of the joints, all the joints of the body, it will be get inflamed, and a little loss of hair will take place. Then a person can suffer from paralysis also, and degenerative changes occur in the heart and the brain. Degenerative changes occur in the heart and the brain means the improper functioning of the heart and the brain can take place. That is called as what? The degenerative changes, or the changes which is going to the which is cutting down the brain power or the heart power. So that is called as what? The degenerative changes. So these all are the symptoms of the syphilis. Then coming to the preventive measures. What are the measures which should be taken, which should be took to avoid this disease? Education should be given about the sex practices, sex hygiene, avoiding the sex with unknown partner or multi-partners, using condom during the coitus. Coitus means at the time of the mating. Then coming to the treatment. The treatment is one of the antibiotic, and the name of the antibiotic is penicillin. Antibiotic is given. Why here antibiotic is given? Because what do you mean by antibiotic? Bio means life and anti. So this is the medicine which is given against the microorganism, and the name of that microorganism is penicillin. Okay, so this is all about the syphilis. Now coming to the second disease, and the name of that second disease is gonorrhea. So starting with our first point, causative agent. The causative agent in case of gonorrhea is Neisseria gonorrhea. Neisseria gonorrhea. This is the scientific name of the microorganism, and this is one of the bacteria, Neisseria gonorrhea. Okay. Now remember one more point, that whenever you people are going to write any of the scientific name of any of the microorganism, so the scientific name should be written in the first letter of the genus should be here. Here Neisseria is the genus and gonorrhea is the species name. So Neisseria is the genus name. So first letter of the genus should be always capital. So here the N is capital over here, and gonorrhea is the name of the species. So the first letter of the species should be always small. Here you can see the G is small over here in case of the species name. So just remember, whenever you are writing any of the scientific name of any of the thing, it can be microorganism, it can be plant, animal, or anything, any live any living thing, then the scientific name should be, the first letter of the genus should be capital, and the first letter of the species should be small. So over here, the causative agent of the gonorrhea is the Neisseria gonorrhea. Then coming to the next point, that is incubation period. The incubation period for male is, in case of male, now here the gender specification is given over here. The incubation period is different for male and for female too. So in case of male, the incubation period, it's lasts from 2 to 14 days. It is between from 2 to 14 days, starting from when the infection occurs till the symptom is seen. So the symptom can be seen between 2 to 14 days. Whereas in case of female, the symptom can be seen from 7 to 21 days. So in case of female, in case of gonorrhea disease, the incubation period is much more, a little bit higher in case of female, whereas in male it is less. Coming to the infection site. Here, the mucous membrane of urinogenital tract, rectum, throat, and eye. Here, the mucous membrane of urinogenital tract, rectum, throat, and eye. Coming to the symptoms. In male, partial blockage of urethra takes place. Partial, a little bit, half blockage of the urethra takes place, and half blockage of the urethra takes place, and reproductive ducts. Pus from the penis comes out. Pus will come out from the penis. Pain and burning sensation during the urination will occur. Pain and burning sensation during the time of the urination, at the time of the urination. Arthritis can also take place. You can see the arthritis also. Whereas in case of female, symptoms are different in male and in female too. So here in the last point we had seen the symptoms in male, like partial blockage of urethra, reproductive pus and partial blockage of the urethra and reproductive ducts, pus from the penis, pain and burning sensation during the urination, arthritis, etc. Whereas in female, pelvic inflammation of the urinary tract, a little bit inflammation will occur in the urinary tract, but in the pelvic region. Then sterility also can take place. Arthritis is also one of the symptom. Then the children born to affected mothers, they suffer from gonococcal ophthalmia and gonococcal vulvovaginitis of girls before puberty. So these are the symptoms which is seen in case of female if gonorrhea takes place. Now coming to the preventive measures. The preventive measures for gonorrhea is sex hygiene, using condom during coitus, avoiding sex with unknown partner or multi-partners. And the treatment is, here again the antibiotic is given as again the disease occurred due to the one of the microorganism, one of the bacteria, that is Neisseria gonorrhea. So the antibiotic, the name of the antibiotic is cefixime. The name of the antibiotic is cefixime. This two, both the sorry, both the antibiotics here in case of syphilis and gonorrhea, that is the penicillin and cefixime. These are two very known antibiotics which are given in these disease, penicillin and cefixime. Infertility. Infertility is defined as the inability to conceive naturally after 1 year of regular unprotected intercourse. The causes of infertility could be physical, congenital diseases. Congenital diseases means the inborn diseases, immunological disease, or even psychological disease. So these are the different types of the reasons of being infertile. It could be physical, congenital, immunological, or even psychological. The common physical causes in females are polycystic ovary syndrome. The common physical causes in females are behind the infertility, they are PCOS, and the full form of the PCOS are polycystic ovary syndrome. Then coming to the next one, hormonal imbalance, endometriosis. While in male, it is less sperm count and small size of penis. So these are the different causes of infertility. Then coming to the next point, prior to 1978, before to 1978, infertile couple had two options: adopt or be childless. But this is the case before 1978. Whether the infertile couple, they have only two options: to adopt a baby or just be childless. But today, infertile couples have many options to have a child, such as fertility drugs, test tube babies, artificial insemination, then intrauterine then next one is the then coming to the next one, that is the IUI, that is the intrauterine insemination, surrogate motherhood, etc. Okay, so these are the different details of the infertility. The childless couples can now be assisted to have the babies through certain special techniques commonly known as assisted reproductive technologies. Okay, they are called as assisted reproductive technologies, that is ART. This is given to the childless couples who can have the child in their life through this technology, is also called as ART, assisted reproductive technologies. Among them, the first one is the IVF, that is called as in vitro fertilization. What is this? It is a process of fertilization where an egg is combined with sperm outside the body in a test tube or glass plate to form a zygote under simulated conditions in the laboratory. So this is what is done in IVF. The zygote or early embryos with up to 8 blastomeres could be then transferred into the fallopian tube for further development. So this is what happens in the IVF, in vitro fertilization. Here, basically in short, I would like to say the egg from the mother and sperm from the father is taken, and it is combined outside the body in a test tube or a glass plate to form a zygote, and a proper condition is maintained in the laboratory, which is required for the formation of the zygote. Then, as the zygote is formed up to the, or it reaches up to the formation up to the 8 blastomeres, then it is transferred into the fallopian tube of the mother for further development. Then coming to the next one is ZIFT, that is zygote intrafallopian transfer. Zygote intrafallopian transfer. Zygote intrafallopian transfer is an infertility treatment used when there is a blockage in the fallopian tubes which prevents the fertilization of egg by the sperm. It is an infertility treatment which is used when there is a blockage in the fallopian tube of the mother, which obviously prevents the fertilization of egg by the sperm. In this method, what is done? Egg is removed from the woman's ovary. Fertilization of the egg with the sperm is brought about outside the body under the sterile conditions to form zygote by the process called in vitro fertilization. Just the last one, what we had seen right now. By that process, IVF, then the zygote is then transferred to the fallopian tube for further development. So this is called as what? Zygote intrafallopian transfer. Next one is GIFT, known as gamete intrafallopian transfer. Now what is happened over here? Transfer of an ovum or egg collected from a donor into the fallopian tube of another female. Who can provide suitable environment for its fertilization and development. This technique, called gamete intrafallopian transfer, has been developed for the cases in which only the entrance to the oviducts or the upper segment of the oviducts is blocked. In this procedure, ova and sperms are directly injected into the regions of the oviduct where fertilization produces a blastocyst, which enters the uterus via the normal route. GIFT has a success rate of about 30%. This GIFT, it has a success rate of about 30%. ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. ICSI is an in vitro fertilization procedure. It is an in vitro fertilization procedure in which a single sperm cell is injected directly into the cytoplasm of an ovum in the laboratory. Here the sperm has to naturally penetrate into the egg. This is what it is done in the ICSI. It is an in vitro fertilization procedure in which a single sperm cell is injected directly into the cytoplasm of an ovum, directly into the cytoplasm of an egg in the laboratory, at laboratory level. Here the sperm has to naturally penetrate the egg. Okay. The next one is the artificial insemination, that is AI. Artificial insemination. In some infertility cases, the male partner is unable to inseminate the female due to a very low sperm count. This problem can be solved by artificial insemination. In this technique, the sperms are collected from the male and artificially introduced into the cervix of the female, for the purpose of achieving a pregnancy through in vivo fertilization, that is inside the body. In vitro, whenever the word in vitro comes, it means at laboratory level, at laboratory scale, and whenever the word in vivo comes, then it means it is done inside the body by natural way. Okay, so this is all about the artificial insemination. Coming to the next one, that is IUI, intrauterine insemination. In this technique, the process is somewhat like that of the artificial insemination. The only difference is that the sperms are introduced into the uterine cavity instead of cervix. The whole procedure will remain the same, and just at the place of the cervix, the sperms are collected from the male and artificially it is introduced into the uterine cavity of the female. This is all what is done in IUI. Therefore, it is called as what? Intrauterine insemination. Now coming to the second last topic of our chapter, that is the sperm bank, also called as semen bank. A sperm bank or semen bank is a place which collects, stores, and provides human sperms or semen. The semen is provided by healthy males called sperm donors. The sperms are stored in sperm bank by cryopreservation method at low temperature. This is all about the sperm bank, also called as semen bank. Now, finally coming to the last topic of this chapter, finally coming to the last topic of this chapter, that is the adoption. Adoption is a legal process by which a couple or a single parent gets legal rights, privileges, and responsibilities that are associated to a biological child for the upbringing of the adopted child. I'm repeating it once more. It is the legal process by which a couple or a single parent gets legal rights, privileges, and responsibilities that are associated to a biological child for the upbringing of the adopted child. An adoptive parent should be medically fit and financially able to take care of the adopted child. A person wishing to adopt a child must be at least 21 years old, but there is no legal upper age limit for adoption. So here finally I have completed this chapter number 2, reproduction in lower and higher animals. Thank you students for listening the whole chapter so patiently. Thank you so much.